Welcome to week 3 of Hopeful Fridays. This week we're going to be looking at the issue around ocean plastics and the work of a particular organisation called 5 Gyres. So let's get started. You might be wondering what the word gyre actually means. So a gyre is a name for a particular place in the oceans where the plastics are collecting. So due to the ocean currents, the plastics on the surface and below the surface tend to collect all together in these big almost seas of plastic waste. And the 5 Gyres has done research to measure the amount of plastics in the ocean, but they also do a lot of campaigning and education around the issue of how plastics get into the oceans. So let's have a little look at some of the research and campaigns that they've done. 5 Gyres was set up back in 2008, and it came as a result of some expeditions around the ocean to investigate how much plastic there was being washed into the oceans. And since then, they've done hundreds of trips, covered over 50,000 miles of ocean, analysing, collecting data to find out exactly how much plastic there is in the oceans. And they've made maps, these heat maps, to show where different sizes of plastics are, and in terms of the number of pieces, and also the total mass of the pieces as well. They've also analysed how these plastics get into the food chain, and they've done a lot of research to investigate how animals actually ingest the smaller bits of plastic thinking that they're food. And they've cut open fish and animals to show that they're actually ingesting several pieces of these microplastics. More importantly than that, or as importantly than that, these microplastics then get passed up the food chain as bigger fish eat the smaller fish, and then shark eat those fish. So that the pieces of plastic are getting more and more concentrated as you move up the food chain. And these tiny bits of plastics actually provide a surface for harmful chemicals, harmful toxins to accumulate around the surface of this plastic. And so again, these toxins are being accumulated and magnified up the food chain as the predators eat their prey. As part of their campaigning, the 5 Gyres organisation is actually being able to identify what brands are most responsible for these bits of plastic entering the ocean. And they've put together tables to show which companies' products and packaging are getting washed most into the oceans. And this is an important step because it helps to highlight the responsibility that the company should have to make sure that their waste is either properly disposed of, or even better, reduced, and where necessary is biodegradable. So it's a really important campaign tool to highlight to the public and to the companies just where their packaging is ending up. Following on from this research, they've also looked at some of the claims that companies have made about their package being biodegradable. And so they've looked at several products and they've put them under the ground in normal sort of garden compost conditions and monitored it over several months and up to 2 years. And they've shown that a lot of these products that claim to be biodegradable are not being properly broken down, and there's still large pieces of plastic in the ecosystem. And it comes to an important point about what biodegradable means. Often biodegradable products are only broken down in certain conditions, and that often requires them to be put into an industrial digester where there are certain microorganisms at certain temperatures that actually allow it to be broken down. So what we really want are compostable packaging, where you can put it in your normal garden compost, or if it does by accident get washed into the oceans or into the other habitats, it will be broken down naturally and very quickly by microorganisms. One of my absolute pet peeves at the moment is the little tiny polystyrene chips that you find in packaging as protective layering in there or as insulation, because the polystyrene can so easily get blown into the environment and won't be broken down. So I was quite surprised when I bought some products, some shampoo products from a company who said that they're reducing their packaging, and it came full of these polystyrene chips. But on closer inspection, I actually realised they said that they were fully compostable. And so I've kept some of them, and I'm going to show you exactly what they mean by this claim of being compostable. So here we have a glass filled with the packaging chips that came in my box, and here I've just got a flask of hot water, and let's just watch and see what happens when we add the hot water to the packaging chips. So very, very quickly you can see that the packaging chips have dissolved in this hot water, and it's dissolved into a harmless substance. So these packaging chips were actually made from potato starch, and so when we add hot water to them, that potato starch breaks down into the starchy solution that you can see here, which is completely harmless. And so this could either be poured down the sink, or if you just put the chips directly into your compost bin, that potato starch would be broken down by the microorganisms. So it shows that there are other alternatives out there to the plastic packaging that is fully compostable. And you saw how quickly that packaging dissolved there. We've just got to, as consumers, encourage the companies that we buy from to find those solutions and use those solutions, but also, most importantly, reduce the amount of packaging that they are using in the first place. So your weekend mission is to go for a walk or a bike ride or a run around your local area, around some green space. If you've got a park near you or a meadow or river, go for a walk or a run or a bike ride and do a litter pick, just to help highlight to you how much litter and how easily packaging and plastic can get into the environment. And you can post your pictures of how much litter you've collected on the Google Classroom. So stay positive, have a good weekend, and I'll see you next time for the final edition of Hopeful Fridays. Bye for now.